Okay, so like everyone knows Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, classic, like a monster story.
It's a lot more than just a monster story, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking about this before we started recording, and I just think it's fascinating how relevant it still is today.
Totally.
You know, even though it was written like centuries ago.
Absolutely.
Especially when we think about AI and genetic engineering.
Just the stuff that's...
Yeah, all the stuff that's happening now.
that she couldn't have even thought of.
Yeah, like Shelley couldn't have even thought of.
Right.
But it's like she predicted these ethical dilemmas we're facing now.
Yeah, and you know what I think is so interesting is that, like, even back then, during the Romantic era, they were already grappling with this anxiety about creation.
Right.
And responsibility.
And responsibility, yeah.
Like, think about it. The Industrial Revolution was happening. Science was challenging religious beliefs.
Right.
There was this underlying fear of humanity overstepping its bounds.
Yeah, like playing God.
Exactly. And Victor Frankenstein, he's like the embodiment of that fear.
Totally. He's
got that ambition.
Yeah, the ambition, but...
thirst for knowledge.
Right, but it goes beyond just creating life.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, it's like he creates this being and then just...
abandons it.
Like washes his hands of the whole thing.
Yeah, and that's what's so powerful about the story, right? It's not just about the act of creation, but the responsibility that comes after.
Yes.
And Victor's rejection of the creature. It's not just because of how it looks.
Right.
It reflects this deeper societal fear of the creator not wanting to deal with the consequences.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Like, oops, I made this thing, but now it's your problem world.
Yeah. That's exactly what it feels like. And it's like what we see happening today with all this technology.
Oh, totally.
Like with social media algorithms. We create these powerful tools, but then who's accountable when things go wrong?
Exactly. Nobody wants to take responsibility.
Right. It's like everyone's pointing fingers.
Yeah, and, you know, that brings us to the creature itself.
A monster.
Right, the monster.
Yeah,
like,
man.
was it really evil or just a product of its environment?
That's a good question.
Like, what if Victor had actually been a good parent to his creation?
Right. What if he had nurtured it?
Guided it.
Yeah.
Taught it right from wrong.
I mean, think about it. It's like nature versus nurture right.
Absolutely.
Could we even apply modern psychology to this 19th century monster?
I think we can. Because the creature's story, it's all about the impact of neglect.
Right. The lack of empathy.
Yeah. It craves connection, but it only finds rejection.
And that's what fuels its rage.
Yes, exactly.
And violence.
It's a cautionary tale about the responsibility that comes with any act of creation.
It really is.
It makes you think about AI development today. Are we just focused on building the most sophisticated algorithms?
Yeah.
Or are we considering the potential for unintended consequences, for bias, for harm?
Right, because those things are all possible.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like we can't just ignore those possibilities.
And that's Shelley's warning, right? Like, we can't just chase progress blindly.
Right.
Victor's downfall wasn't just creating the creature. It was failing to consider the ethical implications, the long-term impact.
It's like that article I read recently with the self-driving car accident.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really tragic situation. The technology was incredible, but a tiny software glitch had these devastating consequences.
Right.
And it made me think that we need ethical frameworks, checks and balances.
Absolutely.
As we're pushing these technological boundaries further and further.
Yeah, it's a constant balancing act. Makes you wonder if Mary Shelley were writing Frankenstein today, what scientific creation would be at the center of the story?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Would it be a bioengineered superhuman, a sentient AI?
Wow.
A genetically modified organism gone wrong?
Those are some heavy questions.
They are.
It's incredible how a novel written centuries ago can still spark these kinds of discussions.
Right.
That make us confront our anxieties about the power of creation.
Yes.
And the weight of responsibility.
And that's the beauty of Frankenstein, I think.
Yeah.
It's not just a story, it's a mirror.
It is a mirror.
Reflecting our own ethical dilemmas, our own fears and aspirations. It challenges us to ask, what are we creating? And what will we be responsible for?
Yeah. What will we be responsible for? That's the question we all need to be asking ourselves.
I think so.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
all right.
That's our deep dive on Frankenstein.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time.
See ya.